It's the games that are coming in. It's the games that are going out. It's games in, games out. Apparently, we got an intro song now. So yeah, this is Games In, Games Out, where I talk about the games that are going into the collection and the games that are going out of the collection and everything in between. So today we got, starting off, one of this really cool looking game here called Zombie Gotcha. And this is a mass market Mattel style game where essentially you're going to be trying to take cards from the zombie and the zombie's going to grab your hand. It's a really light, simple game. I did enjoy it though. My kids really did enjoy it. We did a Bauer Family Learns if you're more interested, but this one's going into the collection. If you got kids, I think they're going to have a lot of fun with it. I'd say age 4 to 10, 11, 12. Next we have Roll and Search. This is from, what's that company? Flying Meeple. And really light, simple game where you're just going to be rolling these huge, chunky dice and then flipping over tiles. And if the 2 tiles you flip over match these dice, then you win the game. The game itself was okay. It just needed more meat on the bone. So I'm actually going to be giving this game away to a kid in my class for good behavior. So that one's going to go into that pile. Next we have the Zorro Dice game from Pull the Pin Games. This one is coming to Kickstarter actually very soon, if not, or you know, when I shoot these, I never know when I'm going to post these, but it's coming to Kickstarter. And this is from Pull the Pin Games, who now has these cool boxes. But this is a really light, simple dice rolling game. I'd say a filler weight game, gateway-esque game, family game from them, and I did enjoy it. And I'm going to be keeping it in my classroom collection because the kids in my class really enjoyed it a lot more than the adults I played it with. The adults I played with thought it was okay, or just weren't the biggest fan of it because they wanted a little bit more. But the kids I played it with really, really dug it, so I'm going to keep it in my classroom. Next, we have Uno Flip, and this is a new take on Uno where the cards are double-sided, and I know you want to see it. So, cards, there's the dark side, there's the light side, and on the dark side, crazy things happen, like draw 5 cards. There's a new press your luck aspect to this game, and I really dug this game. I think it's really good, and I think that if you have kids that like Uno, or if you play with people who like Uno, this is going to go over incredibly well with them, because in fact, the kids in my class love this game so much that I told the little girl, since she had like 2 or 3 good behavior days banked up, that she could get this, because she was like... So I got this huge selection of games, and it's probably like 9, 10 older school games, and then 2 or 3 of the newer games, because I review a lot of the old stuff as well. And she's like, I don't want any of those games, because she played a lot of them with me. She's like, I want to wait till you get something good. And she's done that 2 or 3 times now. And she asked me, could I get the Uno when you're done with reviewing it? And I was like, but I really want it too. It's really good. And I was like, yeah, it's all you. So she gets that one, but I would have kept it in my collection because I do think it is that good. Next we have Wobble Kid from Haba Games. It's a really light, simple game where there's going to be this king, and he's going to be on top of this platform, and the platform is going to be held up by all these circular discs. And your job is to try and get them out, and you're not stealing from the king, you're just moving the money around his palace. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to get those discs out without knocking the king over. It's enjoyable enough. It's a game that you can play with kids, I'd say ages 3+. So obviously when I review it and when I talk about it, I have to come at it from a completely different perspective. This is not an adult game. This is for kids. And the kids I played it with really did enjoy the game. My 3-year-old son really enjoyed the game. My 6-year-old son really enjoyed the game. So once again, another game, solid game from Haba. This is why they're one of the best companies in the business. Not just for kid games, but period. They consistently hit the mark with most of their games. So, yet another one in that track record. Next, we have whatever the heck this is. This is Rush Hour, the traffic jam game from Think Fun Games. Another game that I think has a really good reputation for the most part. But they have their own separate niche. This is part of that niche. This is a really simple game where you are going to have this board right here. And this board is going to have different vehicles, and it's going to be completely lined up with the vehicles, and you're going to have a red vehicle that you have to somehow get to the get from point A to point B. And how you're going to do that is you have to move all the cars around until you can find like the little puzzly openings. The kids in my class love this game. They really, absolutely do. And my son liked this game a lot. It's a really cool brain-burning game for kids. But that being said, even for adults, it can get very, very difficult. And I would say 1 or 2 players at most. Even when you start getting 2 players, you can get kind of frustrated. It's more of a solo experience, but definitely one that I did enjoy. And what am I going to do with this one? As much as I want to keep it, my son has too many games that are like this from Think Fun, so I'd much rather give it to a kid in my class who does not. And I think they, especially with this, like that's, I love being able to do that for kids. Next we have the City of the Big Shoulder, which, long story short, this is another one that I'm going to be putting up in my classroom. The kids can have it if they want it. No, just kidding. This is a, holy dear God, heavy, I'd say 3 to 4 hours. It says 2.5 on the box, but really, let's be real here. 3 to 4 hour game where you are going to be running a company, and you are going to be in the 1920s, and you're trying to automate your company, and you're trying to get the resources, and it's a worker placement game, and it is just heavy, thinky, chunky goodness, and I really, really dug this game. We slapped a Bauer's Best seal on it. I've got the expansion back here, which gets me excited because that means we get to get it back to the table. Yeah, baby. That's how excited I am about this game. That's pretty much all you need to know if you're looking for a thick, heavy, meaty, chunky game. Rules are, they could be better, but I don't think they're bad. This is one you might want to check out. City of the Big Shoulders from Parallel. Oh, so heavy. Next we got Filibuster from Biplane Games. This is 3 to 5 players, and this actually is a really interesting, humorous game about politics and about the process of filibustering different laws. And it's a semi-cooperative game where you're trying to work together as lawmakers to filibuster a bill. And it's really hard to explain. We did a Thoughts from the Corner segment on it. And actually, this brings me to another fourth wall breaking thing, which I like to throw in here, which is that I've always had this pledge that I'm never going to get rid of a game until I review that game. But I think I'm going to make an amendment to that. I think from now on, I'm going to say that I'm never going to get rid of a game unless I do an impression video on it. The reason I say that is I did an impression video, a Thoughts from the Corner video with my game night. And we talked for like 15, 16 minutes in depth about this game. And I see this game having a hard time hitting the table again. So I feel like I've done my service as a reviewer by doing that video. It's not a review per se, but it really is for the most part. We were very critical of the game. We talked very positively of the game, and we went in depth, in detail about what we did. But if you're still watching this point, I'm just interested in your thoughts on that. Do you think that constitutes as a review? Because here's the one thing. This is the thing that makes me skeptical and why I tend to not call it a review, because it was a first impression. It was the first time we played a game. So let me know what your thoughts are on in the comments below. But that's Filibuster. I'm going to be keeping it for the time being. Hopefully get it back to the table so I can shoot a review for it. But there you go. So keeping it for now. Oh, last one. Whoa, I'm a noob. We got Fate of Immortals from Blue Eyed Games. So this is actually a really interesting game because this is the first game in the Bauer Spotlight series, which is a series where the game crafter reached out to me and they're going to pay me. They're going to pay me every month to do 4 videos about a specific Game Crafter game each month, including an unboxing, a setup, a gameplay, and a review. And so for some of them, I'm going to do an extra 5th video where it's a Thoughts from the Corner, because I feel like that I really like doing those videos. So we did this one on Fate of Immortals, which is the first Game Crafter game, and I dug it. I think it's a good game. I don't think it's a great game, and I think it's kind of a little bit like Zorro the Dice game, where this game is going to go over much better with kids. And I played this with both kids and adults. And the kids absolutely love this game. It's very light, very simple, easy to learn, easy to teach, and they dug that. They liked the theme. They thought it was fun that every turn they made, they screwed somebody over. So this game I'm actually going to be giving away to a kid in my class, so that will go to the that pile right there. Alrighty then, the next game we got is Holmes and Moriarty. This is a really enjoyable 2-player game. I had a lot of fun with this game. It came out last year at Origins, but it just hasn't gotten played since then. I don't play too many 2-player games now that my wife has kind of fallen out of the hobby. And while I do think this is a really good game, just one that's going out of the collection because it doesn't get played. And you're about to see that again with Master of the Galaxy, which is one of my favorite games of last year. However, I went back to the rule booklet and I tried to learn it. I was like, oh gosh, I don't want to do this. And it's really interesting because the position that I'm in is that I have to keep playing new games, keep playing new games. I'm Cult of the New because I do the YouTube channel. And unfortunately, a game like Match of the Galaxy, which I think is a really rock-solid game, is gotta go, because I don't see it getting played again, unfortunately, unless somebody else reads the rules, and I don't think an expansion is coming because I don't think it did too well financially. So unfortunately, Match of the Galaxy, great game, out of the collection. Next we have Hello, My Name is Party Game. This is an enjoyable enough party game. I think it does have some issues, though, where the more pop culture you know, and the older you are, the better you're going to be at the game, because essentially what it is it's just, there's going to be some cards out there that will say, think of an athletic, bearded, married person. If you can think of that, you're going to get 3 points. But the more people you know, the better you're going to do at the game. So it's a hard recommendation as a family game. It's strictly in the party game category. So I'm going to give this to my buddy Eric, who has most of my party games. I think it's good, but I don't think it's great. Next we have Matching Madness. This is a really dirt simple matching game where you're going to roll the dice, then you're going to try and see what's on the dice, then look at the cards in your hand and slap down a card faster than anybody else at the table. And if you're the first person to get rid of all your cards, then you win the game. Pretty much that's the entire thing. It's great for younger kids. I will say, if you have kids age 5, 6, 7, this is one I think they're really going to enjoy. And we'll probably do a Bauer Family Learns on this one relatively soon as well. I'm going to be keeping this one at home with my kids because I liked it that much, and I'll probably bring it into the classroom from time to time. If you have young kids, definitely one you might want to check out. Next, we have Flick Wars, which is one of my favorite Kickstarter games that I've ever done. The only reason why we're getting rid of this one is because now we have this one, the Big Dog, which is actually going into the collection. I really enjoy this game. It's not a perfect game. Actually, we played a game of this in about probably 5 minutes, because it's a fragile game, but it's a really rock solid flicking game that I did enjoy a whole good deal, which is why this is going away. Same with this. This is the map they gave me for it, so I'm just going to put it in my classroom for the kids to have. Next we have Sardines. This is a game in which there's going to be fish out there, and the fish are going to have clothes on, and you have to try and figure out, it's a memory game. Sardines. Let's see what the actual description of it says. That's not English. Yeah, it was okay. That's one thing about these Dejeko games that I've realized, is they have a lot of games out there for kids. This is Asmodee picked up this brand. None of them are great. Most of them are just kind of like, they're okay. That being said, the kids I played it with really did enjoy it. I think this is one I'm going to give away to the kids in my class because it didn't do anything for me. Ages 5 plus, 2 to 4 players, but I can think of a lot of other games I'd rather play that are ages 5 plus. And the fact that I can't remember what this game is about should tell you a lot about this game, because I'm about to describe all these games, but that one I don't remember. Next we have Village in a Box, which, Jesus, this thing is beat up. This is a Game Crafter game. It's part of the Bauer Spotlight series. I did a whole bunch of videos on this one. I think I did 5 videos on this one. This is by far the best of the Bauer Spotlights that I've done so far. It's a really rock-solid game in which you're just going to be building a tiny village and trading. And it's a tiny little engine building game. Well, it's not even that. It's just a trading game where you're like, all right, I need this. What do you want for it? Oh, you give me the woods, and I'll give me 2 woods, and give me this chapel, and then I'll give you this 1 card. It's very light, it's very quick. It needs better rules. It needs a different box. It needs a publisher to pick it up. But honestly, this is a rock-solid game. I could easily recommend this both as a family game and as a game night style game. So I'm going to be keeping Village in a Box, along with the expansion. Village and Water in a Box, or Village and People in the Box, or whatever it's called. Next we have Virus. This was a really surprisingly good mass market feeling game. I brought it in my classroom. The kids really stinking liked it. Easy to learn, easy to teach. You only take 1 action on your turn. I like the artwork. The theme is dark, where there's some cards that'll let you steal other people's organs and sneeze on them and stuff like that, but the kids really liked it. And this is one that I'm going to be keeping in my classroom because the kids did like it a lot. Also, it can be both a children's game and a family game. Kids can play it by themselves once they know what they're doing, which is always good. Next we have The Bears and the Bees from Grandpa Beck's Games. I dug this one more than I was expecting to as well. So Grandpa Beck's was at Gen Con. He was like, oh, a couple of our games are the top rated games on Amazon. And I was like, really? This is the top rated game on Amazon? It is. I'm pretty sure there's probably some some trickery going on there, some game in the system, but whatever. It's still a rock solid game. I'm going to give it to, I'm going to put it in the games that go to the kids in my class, because while I did like the game, it's purely a children's and family game. I don't think I'd ever really want to play this as an adult game. Maybe if you're in the very light part of the hobby, if you're new to the hobby, or if you play a lot of gateway games, then maybe, but for most people, this is going to fall strictly into the children's and family weight category. But that being said, it's a decent enough children's and family game. I really did enjoy it. I enjoyed playing it personally, and the kids that I played with enjoyed playing it a lot. So that is the Bears and the Bees. Next we have It's a Wonderful World from Lucky Duck Games. I shot a solo one on this one. I'm probably going to shoot another solo one on this one. We did a Thoughts from the Corner, and I really stinking like this drafting game, and I think this one's going to go in my collection. I think this one's going to be in my collection for a very long time for a couple different reasons. First, it's drafting, but it feels different. It feels different enough. There's unlimited room for expansion and growth with this game as well. Easy to learn, easy to teach, if I didn't say that, and I really dug the choices in this game. It gives you simple choices, but really interesting, meaty choices at the same time, which is really what you want in a game. You want to be able to understand the choices quickly, but then be like, ooh, I don't know what to do here. And this does that very well. The more I've played this, the more I have liked this game. It's a Wonderful World. I think this is going to be a big hit for them, and I can't wait to see what comes from it in the future into the collection, replacing Master of the Galaxy, actually. Next, we have Kingsport Festival, the card game. This is one of those games that I really dug, but the rest of my game group was not so hot on. And unfortunately, since I reviewed it, it has sat there and not gotten played. And if nobody else at game night wants to play it, and well, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. It sat there for probably about a year, not getting played after the review, which is unfortunate because I did enjoy the game, but I don't think an expansion is coming to make it even better or make it more appealing to my game night. So unfortunately, it is out. Next we have The Skull King, another one from Grandpa Beck's Games, because like I said, he was pleasantly surprising. This is a great trick-taking game. This is a great adult trick-taking game. This is a great kids trick-taking game. What I really like about this game is it's easy to learn, easy to teach, but it also comes with expansions in the box. And I'm not just talking about like a couple extra cards. It comes with like 10 extra cards that you can mix into the trick-taking game to make it from a game that's a pretty straightforward trick-taking game where you have to predict how many tricks you're going to get to a really kind of out there wild one. And you can mix in as many of the crazy cards as you like. And I really dug Skull King. This is one I'm going to keep, not just for my classroom, but whenever like huge in my classroom, but also for my my game night and just to have. I think this is one of my new go-to trick-taking games. I really dug Skull King. Great game. Next we have What's Gnu. This is not, it's a game, but it's a spelling game. This is more of an educational tool than a game. I'd say it's an educational game, and it's serviceable. It's good for kids who need to work on three-letter spelling. That's what I'll tell you. If you have kids that are working on spelling, ages 5 to 8, that's what it says, then yeah, get this. It's a no-brainer. It's really good at what it tries to do, but if you're not in the market for a three-letter word spelling game, then obviously this is an easy pass for you. For me personally, it's going to go to my classroom and be an educational tool that I use with kids that are working on spelling. Next we have Peckin' Alpaca, which is just this god-awful, annoying box which doesn't close the way you want it to, and stuff falls out the bottom. I'm going to put it into a gallon-sized bag. The big shtick with this game is you have to stack things, and then this llama spits in your face. Oh, yeah. He spits in... Ah! God, yeah, he spits in your face. Put yourself as a 7-year-old or a 6-year-old and imagine this game, and that's what you get. Kids really like it. My kids really like it. This is what I'm going to be keeping because my kids both really enjoy it. The kids in my class really enjoy it. And if you're in the market for a kids game that's a stacking kids game, that's, you know, you get spit in the face with water, then this is definitely one I would recommend to you. Next we have Menace Amongst Us from Smirk and Dagger Games. This is a social deduction game in which you're on this ship and you are trying to figure out who the bad guys are, and you're trying to keep the ship up and running by managing your energy and your oxygen level. And I really dug it. It was the game, the more that I dug into it, the more I enjoyed it. I am going to be keeping it because I think they have plans for a lot of expansions. Because as you'll see in the box, there is not much. There is not much in this oversized, massive box. but I think that's because they're going to come out with more. And I did. I really enjoyed this game enough that I'm going to put it on the shelf. Hopefully it gets played from time to time. If it does not, then it will hit the curb. Do I think it's better than, like, say, The Resistance or Don't Mess with Cthulhu? No. It's not better than Don't Mess with Cthulhu, in my personal opinion. But it's also more gamey, I do think. I do think Menace Amongst Us is a rock-solid game, though. I think this is one you might want to check out. I enjoyed it a good deal. Plus, it goes up to 8 players, which is always a good thing. Last but not least, we have War for Dakar, which, wow, this game had a lot of really good ideas, but it did not see its potential because the rule booklet was bad. We had issues with the setup. We had component issues. We had this did not get play tested. This did not, let me rephrase that. This did not get blind play tested. And I don't think anyone is going to argue and say it did get blind play tested. Plus, we had component issues, not only component issues, but box issues as well, which makes me believe that it's probably more about the manufacturer and less about just my particular copy of the game, even though I hope it is just my copy of the game. A really cool idea with a lot of cool ideas, but unfortunately all of that is bogged down by just so many other minor things that you will not want to play this game. It's a slog to learn the game. It's a slog to try and play the game. And this is the kind of game that it'd be great to play with the people who know how to play it or who designed it. But if you're not one of those people, it's going to end up one of those games that maybe you might learn it once. Then you'll be like, man, that was really kind of frustrating. I don't know if I want to revisit it again. And then it's going to sit on your shelf. And it's going to sit on your shelf. And then you're going to completely forget all the rules. And then you're going to get out the rules again. And you're going to be like, wait, oh, God, this is why we didn't play this game, because the rules are hot garbage. And then it's going to sit on your shelf more until eventually you get rid of it. I think that's going to be the case with most people, unfortunately, for War for Dakar, despite the fact there's a lot of promise here. But it was not received. It wasn't fully fleshed out. I would say that this is the kind of game that if it got a second edition from a publisher that's more experienced, I think this could be a really great game. Like, no bones about it. I think this could be a great game that people love, like a Game of the Year candidate, to be honest with you. If they added a little bit more into the box and they fleshed out the rules, made the rules easier, they added a glossary, an appendix, all that sort of stuff. But unfortunately, they did not, so bye-bye out of the collection. But there you go. That is Games In, Games Out. If you're enjoying what I'm doing, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below. If you're to support the channel, click on that little Amazon Associates link down below, or consider supporting us on the Patreon link down below. And in the comments below, let me know what was the last game that went into your collection or came out of your collection. For me personally, let's see, I'm looking at my games over here. The next one that's going to go in or out of my collection will be Paranormal Detectives and Obscurio, which I do believe both of those are going to go into my collection, but I need to play them a couple more times. So let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.